All right, can everybody hear me? I am going to open up this meeting. I apologize in advance that I'm homesick. I didn't want to get my fellow supervisors sick right during the holidays. So welcome everyone to the December 18th Board of Supervisors meeting, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. So tonight we have 3 public hearings, and I'll start by calling to order the public hearing for HR 477, and I'll hand things over to Mr. McKenna.
Thank you, Dr. Gussie. I have marked the following board exhibits for the hearing this evening. Board Exhibit 1 is the proof of publication from the Daily Local News, dated December 4th, 2023. Board Exhibit 2 is the proof of publication of the notice from the Mainline Times Suburban, dated December 3rd, 2023. Board Exhibit 3 is a copy of an email and a distribution list to those who wish to receive public hearing notifications, which was sent on November 17th, 2023. Board Exhibit 4 is a copy of the ordinance itself, and Board Exhibit 5 is the Exhibit A copy of the final budget to the ordinance. Those are the board exhibits for this hearing.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt HR 477?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I heard that one. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments?
Yes, Chairman, I have a couple comments. My opposition to this budget tonight is based on the need to diversify the township's revenue generation beyond real estate to keep resident tax dollars in Tredyffrin rather than going to other municipalities, and the need to meet serious funding gaps in public safety, libraries, and infrastructure, among other things. We learned from our EIT study that just 0.5% of an EIT tax could meet those funding gaps in a simple and efficient manner, while even perhaps lowering the real estate tax as well. I can't help but feel that we lost an excellent opportunity to solve the funding and service issues of this township in one master stroke. Instead, the yearly tussle of tax rates and departmental and citizen pleading for resources will continue. I do recognize the work that went into this budget and the incremental improvements on stormwater and fire issues. The township staff and employees and first responders at the township are second to none. I do look forward to continue to advocate to provide them with resources they need to be the leading provider of municipal services in this region. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other board comments? All right, hearing none, do we have any citizen comments about HR 477?
There appear to be none in the audience, Madam Chair.
Okay, because I can't see that, so definitely tell me.
Yes.
Oh, maybe I can. No, okay, I switched it, so I'll be able to tell. I apologize for that. I haven't done this in a while virtually. All right, so hearing none, this one is a roll call vote, and I can't see everyone on the screen, but we'll start with Supervisor Miller.
Aye.
Supervisor Holt.
No.
Supervisor Wysocki.
Aye.
Supervisor Freed.
Aye.
Supervisor Basker.
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries, and I'm going to close this public hearing. And I'll call to order the public hearing for HR 478. And again, I'll hand things over to Mr. McKenna.
Thank you, Dr. Gussie. For this hearing, I have marked as Board Exhibit 1 the proof of publication in the Daily Local News from November 20th and 27th, as well as December 4th, 2023. I've marked as Board Exhibit 2 proof of publication in the Mainline Times Suburban, dated December 3rd, 2023. Board Exhibit 3 is the copy of the email and distribution list to those who wish to receive public hearing notifications, which was sent on November 17th, 2023. And Board Exhibit 4 is a copy of the ordinance itself. And those are the board exhibits for the hearing.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance HR 478?
Second. So moved.
Okay, I think we have a motion and a second. I heard them both. Do we have any board comments?
So moved. Second. Mr. Miller.
Sorry, we were correcting the record for the court reporter.
Okay. Do we have any board comments? Okay, hearing none. Do we have any public comments on this public hearing?
There appear to
Okay.
be none in the gallery. Yep.
All right, hearing none, we will move to the vote. Supervisor Miller?
Aye.
Supervisor Holt?
No.
Supervisor Wysocki?
Aye.
Supervisor Freed?
Aye.
Supervisor Basker?
Aye.
And I vote aye. The motion carries, and we'll move to our third and final public hearing. And I call to order public hearing for HR 479. And for this, I think I'm handing things over to Patrick Scott, our bond counsel.
Dr. Gussie, this is Patrick, your solicitor. I'm going to just mark the board exhibits, and then bond counsel is here, I believe, if needed for the board's sake. We did mark the following board exhibits for the hearing. Board Exhibit 1 is the proof of publication of the notice of the hearing in the Daily Local News on December 12th, 2023. Board Exhibit 2 is a copy of the email and distribution list to those who wish to have received public hearing notifications, which was sent out December 12th, 2023. Board Exhibit 3 is a copy of the bond ordinance itself. Those are the board exhibits for this hearing.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion to adopt HR 479?
So moved. Second.
And do we have, okay, we have a motion and a second. Does the board have any comments or questions for the bond counsel? All right, hearing none, do we have any public questions or comments?
There appear to be none in the audience.
Thank you. All right, we will move to the vote. Again, Supervisor Miller,
Aye.
Supervisor Holt,
No.
Supervisor Wysocki,
Aye.
Supervisor Freed,
Aye.
and Supervisor Basker.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion carries, and we will close the public hearings. And thank you to our court reporter tonight. All right, and I call to order the public meeting, and we have a few announcements tonight. The 2024 organizational meeting is scheduled for January 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. There are openings on the Historical Commission, Library Board of Trustees, Park and Recreation Board, Planning Commission, and Zoning Hearing Board. If you wish to volunteer and be considered, please send a letter of interest and brief resume with relevant experience to Tredyffrin@tredyffrin.org. In observance of the holidays, the following schedule will be in place. Tuesday, December 19th, tomorrow, offices close at 1:30 p.m. for a staff appreciation luncheon. Friday, December 22nd, offices close at noon. Monday, December 25th, offices are closed. Friday, December 29th, offices close at 2 p.m. And Monday, January 1st, 2024, offices are closed. Now we'll move to the approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the December 4th, 2023 public meeting?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And we will move to township business. And we have some supervisor liaison reports tonight. And we'll start with Supervisor Miller.
Actually, I'm going to defer to Supervisor Bhaskar, who attended the zoning hearing board in my place. Supervisor Gussie, I don't have a report because Supervisor Bhaskar attended for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, yeah. So just keep going down the line.
I think you do have a motion.
Oh, no, that's
though.
fine. I'll take care of that. So I have a motion to appoint Julianne Peck, reappoint her to the zoning hearing board.
All right, we have
second?
a motion. Do we have a second?
All in favor?
All right, did you have any comments?
Oh, yeah, comments? Just trying to get this done, yeah.
All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will move to Supervisor Holt, I think. I don't have, it's harder to
No reports
visualize.
for me tonight, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Supervisor Wysocki?
Yeah, I have two reports, Planning Commission and Pension Trustees. The Planning Commission met on November 16th and voted unanimously to grant preliminary final approval to KinderCare Learning Companies, Inc. for KinderCare's use of a vacant unit, and that's the former unit of AAA. It's the AAA space in a shopping center at 849 Lancaster Avenue as a daycare center, and the replacement of an adjacent parking area with an outdoor playground area. That was the only business of the Planning Commission on the 16th of November. The next December's meeting of the Planning Commission has been canceled. The next meeting of the Planning Commission is on January 18, 2024. The pension trustees met on November 27 for their quarterly review of the police pension fund, the 457 plan for non-uniformed employees, and the OPEB trust, that's other post-employment benefits trust. After examining third quarter and other performance data and future economic and market projections, the trustees concluded that no significant changes in investment strategy were needed. The next meeting of the pension trustees is on February 15, 2024. That is my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Freed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Historical Commission met on December 14th, and they went over really their plans for 2024. They're, as usual, very organized and trying to come up with a plan for a number of walks and historical events, as well as moving forward on working with their consultant to work on revamping the township's ordinance with regard to historic structures. And their next meeting is January 11th, 2024. I'd also like to make a motion with regard to the municipal authority to reappoint Mike Heberg to that board.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any board comments? Any public comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Is that all of your report for tonight?
That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Supervisor Bhaskar.
Thank you, Dr. Gussie. So I would like to start with a motion to reappoint Eduardo Duenas, Thomas Switch, and Dr. Jonathan Wilson to the Environmental Advisory Council. So the terms are expiring, so this is a motion to reappoint.
And do we have a second?
Second, third, fourth, fifth, yep.
Okay. Great. Any board comments? Any public comments?
Well, actually, I'd just like to jump in and say that, they're typical of everyone on the EAC, high energy and committed to the environment. So I'm actually very proud and happy to be associated with them as their liaison.
Madam Chair, I'll just jump in too briefly. the EAC, and I put the EAC and the Historical Commission both in sort of the same category in this respect. They both sort of, in the time that I've been here, reinvented themselves, really went from, I think, groups that were, did some stuff but were relatively obscure in the township to really being, leaders at the forefront. The EAC, the people that, and I think this is probably based on the folks that tried to put the best people in there. Now you have people in there that are both qualified and dedicated and getting a lot done, and as Supervisor Bhaskar said, high energy, and it's really, they really are sort of the flagship. The EAC and the Historical Commission really are the flagship, I think, commissions, in addition to the ones that, you always expect, like the Planning Commission and the Zoning Hearing Board and things that you always expect, but these are agencies that go above and beyond, or committees that go above and beyond what you might otherwise expect, and they do just a terrific job.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments? All right, we will move to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And Supervisor Bhaskar, do you have more to your report?
Yes, I probably have more to say than all the other supervisors put together this evening, so apologies in advance. The Environmental Advisory Council met on Tuesday, November 28th, its last meeting of the year, and Dave Midgley is the new staff contact, and we'd like to welcome him to the Township and to the EAC. So the EAC elected Dr. Wilson as chair for the EAC, replacing Amber Levy, who's stepping down from the role as chair, but not as an EAC member. So the EAC thanked her for her 3 years as chair, and I extend my personal appreciation as well for her enthusiasm, energy, and leadership, and look forward to working with Dr. Wilson. Devon resident Meredith Brunel attended the meeting to express her concern about gas-powered lawnmowers and leaf blowers. So Member Tracy Viola will connect her with other concerned residents. The EAC passed a motion for Anne Murphy to apply for a Hardy Plant Society grant to purchase native shrubs for Wilson Farm Park. She will meet with Public Works to determine locations for new shrubs and to discuss proper maintenance to protect trees and shrubs from accidental damage from mowing, which has happened a couple of times. And then water monitoring continues in Krabby Creek. Dr. Wilson will invite some of his undergraduate students to present their findings, and depending on how that goes, I will consider getting them onto a Board of Supervisors agenda to present to the Township at large, assuming they'd like to do that, of course. And the EAC discussed ideas for the Martin Luther King Day of Service on January 15th. And this was a longer meeting than usual, because one of the things the EAC members do is at the end of the year, they talk about their personal goals, and there's a lot of back and forth about feedback on the goals and how other people can help one another. So the next EAC meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Moving on to the library, on December 1st, the Library Foundation held a small thank you to recognize at the Stratford Library to recognize donors. The Library Board of Trustees met on Thursday, December 7th, and prior to the board meeting in the new makerspace, which is planned to open early next year, the board formally received a large donation from the Friends of Tredyffrin Public Library and thanked the Friends. The Friends raised many thousands of dollars for the library, and by accepting and reselling donated books, and the new makerspace is possible in part through their donations. So thank you to the Friends of Tredyffrin Public Library. The board elected Rob Kroner as president, taking over from Anthony Ferris, who is stepping down from the board, and the board also thanked Anthony for his leadership. And per its bylaws, the library board nominates the president and the secretary in 1 December, and the vice president and treasurer the next December. So, and then to be confirmed at the subsequent January meetings. So the board nominated Rob Kroner for president in 2024 and Jennifer Whip as secretary. And the board also approved the 2024 calendar and budget. And then the board discussed policies for the new makerspace and all of the equipment therein. And piece of good news, part of the HVAC unit that was back ordered finally arrived and was installed. So the front part of the library has heat, and we were able to meet in comfort. Didn't have to wear our sweaters and jackets for the meeting. And circulation of print materials continues to trend upward, although it's still below pre-pandemic levels. So the next meeting of the Library Board of Trustees will be on Thursday, January 25th, and it will be at 7 p.m. And please note the change in time. Traditionally, the Library Board of Trustees is met at 7:30, but they decided that 7 p.m. was a friendlier time all round. And then trying to do my best to sort of fill in for Supervisor Miller, since he knows a lot more about zoning than I do. I attended the Zoning Hearing Board meeting on Thursday, December 14th. And these are my notes. Appeal 17-23 was approved with conditions. I was not able to find out what the original application was for. Appeal 4.23 for a 12-month extension was approved with conditions. Appeal 18-23, which is an application for a variance pertaining to a pool, was taken under advisement with a decision to be rendered on January 25th. Appeal 19-23, a special exemption to allow a veterinary clinic in Gateway Shopping Center was approved, conditioned on conformance with a presentation by the applicant and with applicable laws. And 2023, it was a Tredyffrin East Town School District for Valley Forge Elementary School was postponed because the engineer could not attend. And 21-23, which was a TSD request to use black chain link fence instead of a previously approved board-on-board fencing, and this suggestion was made by the Planning Commission. So the Zoning Hearing Board will announce its decision at the January 25th meeting. The next meeting of the Zoning Hearing Board is on Thursday, January 25th, 2024 at 7 p.m. And that ends my report. Thank you, Dr. Gussie.
Thank you, Supervisor Basker. Now we will move on in the agenda to the motion to approve a final escrow release for Mine Road Partners LP, Berwyn Sports Complex, amount of $158,883, balance remaining $0. Mr. Burgo.
Madam Chair and members of the board, this final release for Berwyn Sports, everything has been completed with this particular project. We've been working with the applicant to finalize their final release of their escrow funds. We have received the final documents from the applicant, and we are recommending that full final release for the board this evening.
So moved.
All right. And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any board comments? Do we have any public comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and any nays? All right, motion carries. Next, we have a motion to approve a tri-party agreement and mutual release between Tredyffrin Township, Apex Constructors, Inc., and Joseph L. Natoli for the final release of escrow funds. Mr. McKenna.
Thank you, Dr. Gussie. Some of the board members may be familiar with the name Natoli, as he has been in front of us for some time. This is actually the Preserve at Valley Forge development, which predated my involvement with the township by a number of years. The township had been holding on to just under $43,000 in an escrow account related to the work, and had never received, frankly, a final escrow release. Mr. Natoli and his company were owed some money from Apex due to the work that Mr. Natoli did related to the Preserve at Valley Forge. And as we've been telling them for several years, the only way that we could facilitate that is if Apex, the one who holds the escrow with the township, signed off. Well, that has now finally happened. So what you have in front of you is a tri-party agreement whereby the township is reimbursed a certain amount. Mr. Natoli is getting his amount, and then any balance is being returned to Apex, and you, township, now will be able to close out that escrow account finally and be done with it. So my only request on this motion, the agreement has been presented to the township, signed by Mr. Natoli. It is not yet signed by Apex, which is a bit unusual on our part. So if the board is inclined to approve it, I would simply ask that the motion be subject to two conditions. The first being that obviously Apex has to sign it, but secondly, it has to be signed in the form in which it was presented to the board, so there's no further changes to the agreement.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve this agreement with the two conditions outlined by Mr. McKenna?
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Second.
Any board comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a motion to approve Remington and Vernick Engineers as the Township's Planning and Review Services Consultant. Ms. McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. As you may remember, the board authorized staff to prepare an RFP for review services for our SALDO, or subdivision and land development process. We did put out that RFP. We actually received 19 proposals back, which was pretty good. A lot of reading on our behalf, but we did narrow those 19 proposals down to a top 4 choice, in which we brought those 4 final firms in for an interview process, which was done by Township staff, Mr. Wysocki from the board, and also the chairman of the Planning Commission. So after that process, we came to the conclusion that we would like to recommend to the board that we go with Remington and Vernick. So I'm asking the board to make that motion.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any board comments?
Yes.
Any public?
Dr. Gussie,
go ahead.
real quick. We interviewed the 4 that made the cut. There was no question in terms of how all things shook out. We were looking to maybe move our planning and SALDO review services and dealing with our planning commission and dealing with the public and move it to the next level. And taking everything into account, including work for comparable townships such as ours, Remington and Vernick engineers, came out first. There was no question after everything went into the equation. So I'm happy to support their appointment.
Thank you. Any other board comments? Any public comments? All right, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. And now we will move to new matters. And do we have any citizen new matters tonight? And I can't see if anyone's coming up, so I'll give it a second and let me know.
Madam Chair, no one at this point.
Okay. All right, then we will move to board new matters. And tonight, it's kind of a special night. Tonight marks the last meeting of one of our supervisors who has dedicated many years of service to the township, Mark Freed. I'm very sad to not be there in person tonight for this, and I really apologize to you for that, Mark. We just want to take a few moments to honor Mark tonight. He has added tremendous value to our board with extensive knowledge on municipal matters. And I will certainly miss his presence here, especially his sense of humor and his wit. And at this time, I'm going to hand things over to Supervisor Wysocki, who's going to lead this section and say some more remarks about Mark, particularly because they have shared the most years on the board together. So the floor is yours, Murph.
Thank you, Chair Gussie. let me tell a little something about my friend and our fellow supervisor, Mark Freed. Mark and I joined the board of supervisors together in January 2014. Tonight is Mark's last meeting of the Board of Supervisors after serving Tredyffrin Township and our residents for 9 years as supervisor at large. Mark served with dedication, honor, and integrity. He acted with a laser focus, always on what was the right thing to do for the residents of our township. He listened to and learned from our residents. Mark held many positions during his time as supervisors, to name just a few, and I must do this. Vice Chair, member of the Finance Committee, the Fire EMS Emergency Services Committee, the Comprehensive Plan Committee, and the Ordinance Subcommittee, as well as board liaison to many other commissions and committees, too numerous to mention at this point, but if it was a commission or committee in the township, he was liaison to it. Now I'd like to share several memories of working with Mark. Throughout our time on the board, Mark was there for me. I will especially remember my early morning sunrise phone calls to Mark. He would listen patiently to my latest concerns and issues and then render his usual good advice and sound judgment. I left each of those calls feeling much better. Another thing about Mark, you always knew where he stood on all issues, whether in a small group discussion or from the dais. He spoke with that Mark Freed passion, befitting the importance of the issue and focusing on what was best for Tredyffrin's residents. Mark, we are grateful for your contributions to the board and the Tredyffrin community. We will miss your knowledge, experience, commitment, and ever-present sense of humor. Thank you, my friend, and Godspeed. So Julie has tasked me with handling this portion of the meeting. Are there any other comments from the board?
Just very, very quickly, which is the one thing that I've noticed about Supervisor Freed, is that when there's any issue, it could be, arbitrarily complex, but he has this amazing talent to get immediately to the heart of the matter and kind of say, well, this is what it's about. And that was something that I've always been impressed by, and certainly from the point of view of analytical skills, that's, so thank you.
Supervisor Wysocki, I would like to note that this is in fact Mark Freed's second farewell from this board of supervisors, and I don't know, I got to follow in Mark's footsteps in my election in 2017, and perhaps, I like to think of, not to insert myself a little bit, but why not? I had something to do with his return when he saw, who's this crazy Matt Holt on the board? I got to get back on this and set that guy straight. But in all seriousness, I'm sure this will not be the last time we hear from Mark Freed in Tredyffrin Township, and that is an entirely good thing. And his commitment, intelligence, and I'm going to put reasoned passion have been great assets that we have all relied upon. And I want to thank you, Mark, for all you've done and all you've continued doing for our community and for our wonderful ability to talk to each other and learn from each other. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I want to just make sure people in the audience know how much time Mark puts into this job. I mean, Murph talked about calling Mark in the morning. I mean, I call Mark fairly frequently and ask for advice on things. He brings that sense of moral clarity to issues. He's incredibly knowledgeable about what happens in both the legal framework in the township, but also what happens in the township. And he's able to cut through issues and give you really good, clear, thoughtful advice. And it's an enormously valuable thing. And hopefully he still answers the phone, even though he's not on the board anymore, because it's important. And really, I just want to make sure people understand it's a huge asset that we have in somebody like him. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you, David.
Supervisor Freed, on behalf of the staff, thank you for all the hard work you put in, and all those many finance committees where we got down in the trenches and the numbers, and I greatly appreciate you pushing us to do better and to do more, and you've been a driving force here for a number of years, and we will certainly miss you, and hopefully you will not be a stranger. You're welcome anytime to come in and have a cup of coffee with us on the issues as well. So thank you so much. And I know there are 2 more presentations, so we'll let them proceed.
Yes, Mark, I have here something from the township, from the supervisors, staff, for you, and it's a beautiful clock, but I just want to read what it says here, and it repeats some things that are worthy of repeating. In appreciation, Mark Freed, for his years of valuable service to Tredyffrin Township and the residents as a member of the Board of Supervisors, and for his timeless efforts over his more than 2 terms as a supervisor serving as, and then we go through the liaisons and the boards and whatever. And it recognizes the depth and breadth of Mark's service to the township. And I want to go back to one thing that Supervisor Miller said, moral clarity. I mean, when I would speak to Mark, and I give you those early morning sunrise calls, and you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And whatever the issue, whatever the concern, there would be 2 approaches. One, just two ways to look at it. Legally, and you would look at what's the right thing to do. And we would get there. And we would get there and we would work it out and we would move forward. And for me, it was comforting and set things right. And for that, I will remain ever grateful. Yes, as Bill said, don't be a stranger. And let me present you with this. And there you have it, sir. Thank you. Okay.
If I could jump in, I also want to make a presentation and thank Supervisor Freed for all he's done. One of his best decisions was when he was on the board that hired me, so thank you. But his
might have been my only good decision.
His friendship, his guidance to me and the department over the years is invaluable. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully a friendship will last a lifetime. On behalf of the department, I'll be presenting you with a plaque, basically an appreciation for your years of service to the citizens of Tredyffrin Township and your unwavering support and friendship to the members of the Tredyffrin Township Police Department. Thank you. We appreciate what you've done for the community and for us. On a personal level, I'll be giving you, when I walk over to you, our challenge coin. There's 3 logos on here underneath our emblem. It says integrity, honor, and respect. You've demonstrate them daily as a leader, as a supervisor, and as a friend. Thank you for a job well done, and I appreciate all you've done for the department. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
One more. Good evening. Just to echo what's already been said, we obviously greatly appreciate Berwyn Fire Company, the service that you've put in, Mark, as a volunteer yourself on this board. Volunteering for your community is a big deal, and really our community runs on volunteers, on committees in the fire companies, and having leadership of the board and folks like you has been very important. As far as Berwyn Fire Company goes, obviously when you started in 2014, a big goal was trying to get Tredyffrin and Easttown to start working together. For many, many years, it was always the two townships in separate silos. That effort really to get the two townships together started in earnest really when 2014. That's really where it started to take serious shape. And obviously your work as a fire EMS liaison with our volunteers, with our staff is greatly appreciated. And really the highlights is you're exiting, but certainly not going anywhere. We'll have the new fire station built in the next 14 to 16 months in the village of Berwyn. That's long overdue. This will mark the first year in the history of either township, I believe, that a fire truck will be purchased in full by both Tredyffrin and Easttown Township together. Another big deal. And last but certainly not least, just a general ongoing support of the fire company and what we're trying to do on a daily basis to save lives and to protect property. So on a personal note, obviously I will miss you. We spent a lot of time on the phone, mostly positive. We obviously had some spirited conversations over the years. But again, thank you, and thank you to your families all for supporting you on the board. A little plaque.
Eamon, I know why the clock's ticking. Why is this thing ticking? Well, that's overwhelming. So thank you to everybody. I just want to take a couple minutes to thank my fellow board members, past and present, for putting up with me. Bill and Joe and the whole staff, you guys, you know, I don't think people realize how much time you guys put in. I was actually here for a historical commission meeting the other night. I think we were getting close to 9 o'clock and I see Aaron walk by. So a lot of hours and you guys do great stuff. Chief, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed being in the same building with you and your command staff and your police officers. You know, Chief Giamo before you and you have, and your command staff and officers have been incredible, really are Tredyffrin's finest. Very appreciative. The rabbis here tonight, and I know I wasn't there the other day, but I have been regaled nonstop since that event at how great your officers were, both professionally as well as just being kind and nice and helpful. It's just, they're just incredible. So thank you. Eamon, you know, you guys, you know, do a great job. And it's, I mean, you know, more than once has the Berwyn ambulance had to come to the house. So it's, you know, you provide a life-saving service and, you know, all the volunteers and the paid staff and you know, there's really not words to express, you know, how hard it is and how hard you guys work, particularly, you know, the folks, the volunteers that are, you know, putting in time just because they love it. It's great. So, and to all the volunteers, I mean, we've got volunteers out here today and the committees. I mean, it really, I mean, it's, you know, seeing the EAC out here and the Historical Commission and the Planning Commission, the Zoning Hearing Board and, you know, the Municipal Authority, and I'm sure I'm missing many others. It's just incredible. You know, none of these people have to do this. They do it because they love their community. They want to contribute to their community. And, you know, by the amount of time and effort at the library and the library board and the library foundation that they put into things, it's a real credit. So I feel, you know, finally, I think just the residents of the community, the fact that on 3 different occasions, they were silly enough to put their faith in me. And it's humbling, and it's, I appreciate it. And they're the ones that I really have to thank, because, I'm only here because they gave me the opportunity to sit up here. So thank you to everybody.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to say anything, or otherwise we can? I knew there would be, I'm just sort of.
Ann Murphy, 5 Berkshire Terrace. I'd just like to say on behalf of the Stormwater Task Force and the EAC, thank you so much, Mark Freed, for all of your insight and your intellect and your support and friendship, helping us achieve what we've been able to do over the last few years. And we wish you the best, and we look forward to seeing you sometime soon, actually on Thursday, but anyhow, so thanks so much. Okay.
Thanks, Ann. Anyone else? Well, I think this meeting is about to be adjourned, and again, Mark, Godspeed, all being well. It's been so great serving with you. I don't know what I'm going to do, those early morning calls. I can't.
You still call, right?
Oh, I call, yeah, but not at that hour of the morning.
I'm in the car.
So, Chair Gussie, do you want to take this meeting out, or we're there?
Yeah, it was really great to hear all those kind words, and very well deserved. And now, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Feel better,
And
Dr.
we're
Gussie.
adjourned. Thank you. And I hope everyone has a happy and healthy holiday season.